Hi, I'm Charlene DeChico from Addiction and Recovery TV. I'm here with Dr. Oz, and we are at the Unite to Face Addiction rally here in Washington, D.C. It's been an awesome day so far, a great energy, and people are just here to support, educate, and inform. And so we just want to ask you, first and foremost, what you would like to see as a direct result of your involvement here today at the rally.
Well, I'm definitely improved as a human being from being with so many wonderful folks who have suffered and have gotten better. Some more than others, from the ravages of addiction. What I'd love to see from today's event is that understanding that the silence will end.
Yes.
No longer should folks who have suffered through addiction, whether they're currently in the throes of it or whether they've recovered, hide the reality of what they've been through. First of all, it's the only way we're going to be able to transparently in our society rip off the scab and allow badness to flow away so we can actually heal as a country. But also we're losing 20 plus million people as allies, folks who've been addicted and are in recovery and can attest truthfully that recovery is real, because most of the folks who are still addicts don't think it is. And that's true for mental illness too.
Right, and so that brings us to the topic that addiction is real, and if you know, in recovery they have classified it as a disease. Are you familiar with the term disease of addiction and understanding that that is a statement?
I've heard numerous people today say addiction is a disease. You need to treat it like a disease, which means you need professional help, but you got to also rally around folks and stop picking on them, because of course if they could do it, they would. And their minds don't want them to get better. And they'll ostracize people around them, so they sort of isolate themselves, which further worsens the scenario. So you begin to understand the deeper pathology of how it affects families. Of course, 1 in 3 families is influenced in some way by this. You begin to appreciate that we've got a global scale problem on our hands.
Awesome. That's a great answer. And just from a medical standpoint, I wanted to ask you that with doctors today and medications, and people sometimes can abuse them, do you think that doctors should be more, become more aware, and maybe even receive special training just to understand what's going on with addiction? And
so I'm going to Capitol Hill tomorrow, talk to a bunch of wonderful folks who want to hear me, senators, congressmen, and to be testifying on Tuesday about this as well. Less than 5% of doctors in medical school are given insights into drugs and narcotics in particular, and they're safe to special. So how could we know about them? I never got formal training in it. Yet as a heart surgeon, I do give people narcotics in order to deal with their pain. But to understand the ravages of a person who's already susceptible to a narcotic, on a narcotic for a week or 2 or 3, is something that most of us aren't really attuned to in the medical profession. See, I think the big allies here might be the nurses, because the nurses talk to the patients in a much more comprehensive, soothing way. And so instead of just giving the answers, they'll sit there and say, listen, these drugs are good for your problem, your back pain, but just you should know that these are some potential pitfalls, and here's how you're going to store them, here's how you're going to dispense them, here's how you get rid of them, because you don't want to stick them around your house because God forbid your kids get into them. Things that we actually don't even bring up as a conversation point. The reason I think those are valuable assets to discuss is because if a patient realizes these are so dangerous, I got to get rid of them as soon as I'm done with it, like an antihistamine, well, now I'm going to be more cautious about taking them myself as well.
good, and again with raising the awareness, very good. Well, we appreciate your support. We know that if Dr. Oz is on board, that